And you've heard by now Kamala Harris is going to be the vice presidential nominee of the Democrats, the person who will be holding up old mate Joe as he desperately tries to make it down the ramp between now and November. The media, of course, in the United States have already decided to crown her as the next big thing because, of course, we all know she'll end up being president, be it in 4 years' time or even sooner, thanks to old mate Joe.
The reasons that she wanted to run was to really expand the imagination and expand America's imagination about who could be a president, who could lead. And so now we have Kamala Harris, almost 50 years after Shirley Chisholm, ascending to this nomination. And so, yes, this is an historic day. And I think if you think about Kamala Harris, she herself, a fighter, right? Mm-hmm. Joe Biden certainly didn't like what she did in that debate, but it proved that she was a fighter.
The swooning continued on the Biden Booster Network.
Joe Biden choosing a barrier-breaking kind of choice for his running mate. That should just not go unnoticed.
She's a history maker. There's no question about it. And, the one thing that I just want to emphasize that I mentioned earlier about the notion of representation.
This idea that Joe Biden picking a woman of color is a safe choice, I wholeheartedly disagree. If you know anything about racism, you know anything about sexism, and you've been on the other end of those very powerful forces in American history and certainly in American political history, then we know that this isn't a safe choice.
But of course, that's the trap, isn't it? Where you single-handedly suggest that this person is qualified enough to be second in charge, a heartbeat away from the presidency. But of course, if you criticise her, you're being racist or sexist. Get ready for that bullshit to come in waves between now and November. But who is this lady? Well, she's a Californian senator. So what is good about the pick? Being the first black woman to make it to the final race, to be there in the final four. That's significant. She's not the first woman to end up on a ticket of president or vice president. She's the fourth to be able to do so. She's a former prosecutor. That, of course, will be used to try to say that we're going to go to defend the police, not defund the police. And she's a strong debater. She was able to get a few hits onto Joe Biden way back when. That will be good when eventually, in the first week of October, she sits down and debates the current vice president. But here's why she's probably a bad pick. She's a California lefty. She has been for a long time. She's to the left of Biden. Sure, not out there with Sanders, but she's more than happy to run on a Green New Deal, Medicare for all, suggests that you shouldn't go to jail if you break border laws, and that there should be voting rights for people who are in jail for committing crimes. The bad side, again, as a former prosecutor, the lefties don't like the idea that she locked people up when it comes to marijuana. The Republicans don't like that she didn't go for the death penalty for people who killed police officers. And finally, perhaps the reason why she might be the worst pick of all for Joe Biden, she believes that he has indecently assaulted people. She says she believes the accusers of Joe Biden. She says she believes the accusers who, among them, suggest that decades ago he sexually assaulted someone. We're not talking here about the hypocrisy of believe all women but look the other way. We're talking about the naked pursuit of power, something that always goes down poorly with normal people in Australia, normal people in the United States. How is it that months ago this lady said that Joe Biden was a racist and that she agreed and she believed the accusers of him when it came to indecent assault and sexual assault? Yet now, I'm with Joe all the way.